for the talk related to navigating success in service operations. Let's start now. Navigating success in service operations. It's a fancy title, isn't it? What does it mean though? Well, it means that today, here, we are going to shed a light on some of the hidden features within the project application that you might have not explored yet. These features will help you better streamlining processes, better planning and tracking project and tasks, as well as improve communication with your stakeholders while having fun. So, are you ready? Then let's dive straight in. As you can see from my slide, the first topic on today's agenda is streamlining processes. I've grouped here three features that will help you do so. Let's analyze these features together and let's do it in a practical way. So let's jump into our database and let's start from the first feature, which is the new create a project from sale order. So here I am in my database. The first thing I need to do is to click on my sales application. Then let's assume I'm creating a new quotation. This quotation, of course, needs a customer, and here I am selecting my favorite one, which is Azure Interior. I'm going to add now a product, which is a service, and I'm gonna sell to Azure Interior an installation service. I can put as many hours as I want. I do everything as usual, but look what happens here. When I click on confirm, I have a new, very powerful smart button, which is the create project one. Here I have the flexibility to decide whether at this moment I want to create a project or not. By simply clicking on the create project, I have this beautiful pop-up window and I can follow the normal steps that I normally use to create a project. So I'll give it a name and then I will click on create project. And here I am in my project app. I can select the name of the different stages. For example, I will use these ones. Let's now move on to the next two items, which are, as you can see from my slides, task statuses for improved workflow and stages as bucket list. These two features, these two tools go hand in hand. So let me introduce them to you together. Again, let's go into our project application. So if I click on my project application, I see here that I'm working on an R&D project because I do like research. So let's click on the 12 tasks that I have created. And you can see here that my stages are used as phases within a project, and each phase corresponds to a week. Week 1, week 2, week 3, and week 4. You can also see that I have defined and established my tasks depending on each week. For example, for week 1, I have to define the project objectives and scope, I have to define the literature review and background research, and so on and so forth. So now the question is, now that I know when to do what, what's the status of my task? And here Odoo comes to the rescue once again, because I just need to click on this dot, and now I can select a task to assign, I can select a status to assign to each task. I have 3 open statuses, and the difference is important: in progress, changes requested and approved, and 2 closed ones, cancelled and done. Why the difference is important? Let's say that I mark this task as done. The task will gray out. As soon as I refresh my database, the task will disappear. I will now remove the filter because I want to show you what happens with the task status. If I move this task around my stages, let's assume that, okay, I need to move the task to week 2. As you can see, the status of the task doesn't change automatically. Of course, you can change it manually if you want to, but not automatically. On the contrary, if, for example, for resource allocation, let's assume that I use like an approved status, which is indeed an open status, and I move it along my stages, then you see that the task status gets reset to in progress. So be careful when you use these features. Let's now move on to the next topic in today's agenda, which is project planning and tracking. Here, as you can see, I have listed some features that are related to project planning and tracking. But I'd say enough with the talking, and let's jump into the database to show you how each one of these features work. So let's start from the first one, which is the project updates menu. Let me jump into my database. So the project updates menu, as you probably know, is a comprehensive tool that will allow users, project managers, and stakeholders in general to have an overview of the project progress as well as performance. I can access the project updates menu in two ways. Let's see how. For example, let's take this consulting project that's been generated from a sale order. Let me click on this three dots menu. I can see here a further menu that's called project updates. All I need to do is to click on it to access this beautiful overview. But that's not all. I have another way to access this project updates menu. All I need to do is to click on my tasks, and then I will see that there is a button that's a little bit hidden, but it's there. You can click on this on track button, and once you click, the magic happens. You are redirected again into the project updates menu. As you can see, this menu is divided into two parts. On the right-hand part, you have the Smart button up top. This Smart button establishes a link, a connection between the project you're working on and the items that are generated in other applications, such as, for example, a sale order. If I click here, I will be redirected to the sale order which has generated this project. For example, I can see like how many tasks are included in the project, the invoices that have been generated, the sale order item, which is the product on the sale order line, and so on and so forth. For example, I could see also the timesheet, for example. What's more, and what's important for project managers especially is to understand the performance of this project. And here, at a glance, immediately, I can see that my margin on this project is in red, so it's negative. It means that I'm not performing well on this project. So Odoo in this section provides you with a profitability analysis, which includes revenues, costs, and also margin. And these data are, let's say, divided by invoiced to invoiced and expected, or billed to billed and expected. So these are the parameters. But now that I have a profitability analysis, what am I going to do with it? Well, on the left-hand side, you have your answer. I have created here two reports. The report can be bi-weekly, monthly, it doesn't matter, as long as you make your manager happy, obviously. And you can create this report just in one click. If I click on new, I can basically assign a name to this report, give it a percentage. Of course, this has to be done manually, but what's done automatically and what's beautiful is that I have a summary here of my profitability analysis. I can also include other information, of course, if need be. Okay, that's all for the project updates topic. Let's now move on to the next feature, which is the Gantt view. The Gantt view is a visual representation of tasks, dependencies, resource allocation, and timeline. And it's particularly useful when, as a project manager, as a project stakeholder, I want to make an immediate change into the project planning. So let's see how Odoo, with the so-called drag and drop functionality inside the Gantt view, can help us achieve this immediate change. So again, let's jump into another project. Oops, I have to discard this. So let's jump into another project. And let's take, for example, like my health monitoring device project, which is very cool and I'm very excited about. So if I, first of all, to move from the Kanban view to the Gantt view, I can do so in just one click. So if I click on my Gantt view, I see already that on the left I have my resources and on the right I have some tasks displayed in a bar that have been assigned to my users. Let's analyze the task. Let's analyze what's happening. For example, here I see that Mark Demo as this documentation and reporting task that's assigned between the 8th and 10. But Mark has told me that actually is kind of overloaded and would like to this task to be assigned to a different person. So what I can do is just to click on this bar and drag and drop it, and I can assign it to either Mark Demo or to Paul Becker, for example. Okay, and here I am, the new assignation is done. What's more, I can immediately understand that there is a link between the literature review task assigned to Paul and the clinical validation and testing task, which is assigned to Mark. Odoo is telling me through this line that this literature review, as it would make sense, obviously, should be done before the clinical validation and testing. However, I also see a very little detail, which is the orange color of this line. Well, why it's orange? Because the literature review task is overlapping with the clinical validation task, and this shouldn't happen if I need to perform this task before. So again, I'm in trouble and I need to make an immediate change. So what do I do? Again, Odoo comes to the rescue. As you can see here, I have the option either to like eliminate the link, so eliminate this dependency, or just replan it by clicking here. In one click, I have replanned. Odoo automatically replans the task, taking into account also the other dependency that I have created here with prototype design. What's more, we can always very easily like extend the duration of the task or actually reduce the duration of a task by dragging and dropping this bar on the right or on the left. And it's cool because Odoo it's telling us also by how much we are increasing or how much we are decreasing, so that we try to keep our employees always happy. Well, that's all for the Gun View feature. Let's now move on to the next feature on today's agenda, which is subtasks. Well, subtasks, as you all know, are tasks created within another task. Okay, so tasks having a parent task. Let's see how they are presented now inside our database. Again, let's jump into the Kanban view of my health monitoring device project. And what I can immediately notice is that when a subtask is present, let's say, is created into another task, I have this little icon here that's telling me that a subtask is present, and that's also not a subtask that's been completed. So if I click on this, for example, I can see that as a subtask of prototype design and development, I do have iterative design refinement. So at a glance in the Kanban view, I can see how many subtasks now are included in this task. But not only this, I can quickly assign a user or an employee to this task if not present yet. And by the way, this is a feature that you can use also for tasks, obviously. What's more, when you enter into a task and you would like to create a subtask, the only thing that you need to do is to click on this tab. When you click on add a line, you can add a title for this task. For example, I can say like need assessment 2. okay? And all I need to do is to save, and the task will be saved, okay? And I see up top that I have a new smart button, which is called indeed subtask, that makes a link within between this task and the task that and the subtask that I have now created. Finally, what you can do to understand how many subtasks and tasks you have inside a project, well, I strongly advise you to actually access your list view. In the list view, we have add these features. As you can see in brackets, you see already how many subtasks are present within a task. And Odoo is also telling me that the status of this task is not done. So I need to get back on track with my health monitoring device project. Finally, the last item for this topic is recurring tasks. As you know, a recurring task is a task that's repeated over time. For example, a maintenance task is a good example of our recurring tasks. Yeah, we do not like maintenance always, but we need to do it. So it's best if we have a task that's planned for when this will happen in the future. So let me show you how you can handle this need, this necessity inside Odoo. And let's jump again in one of our projects. So let's take, for example, my health monitoring device, because it is indeed my favorite. If I click on regulatory compliance assessment, let's say that I want to repeat this task in next year. So I can plan, for example, the first thing that I need to do is to plan the dates. So I will plan for today, and after I do so, I save, and then I click on this little icon. Once I click on this little icon, I get an option of choosing when I would like to repeat this task. So for example, I would like to repeat it once a year. So I just click years. Then I can also give it a validity, a duration, but here we'll keep it like forever, because I really need to do this for a long time. And what now I need to do when I save, what it will show, it's a smart button with a task that's made recurrent. However, like if I click on this task, we'll notice that there is still no task planned for the future. So how do I achieve this? Well, the only thing, but very important thing that you need to do is to remember to click and change the status of the task. So once you mark the status of this task as done, you have here a recurring task, another task planned for the future. So if I click inside, you can see that it's planned for 2024. Okay, let's now move on to the last topic of today's talk, which is communication and fun tools. In this topic, we will explore some tools, some innovative tools that will help you better communicate with your stakeholders, as well as make work more enjoyable, because we all need that. Here you can see I have listed 4 features. Let's start with the first one, which is integration with knowledge. So we can stay in this task. You can see on the right that I have the knowledge icon, which is allows me to search knowledge articles. So what I can do, I can select an article within the knowledge application, and then I can use my clipboard to design a template for the task description. And by simply clicking on use it as description, I have this full description inside my task description. So this is cool. It allows you to save a lot of time, especially when a task has always more or less the same description. The second feature on today's agenda for this topic is share your project with portal users. So you can share your project with portal users, which are external users. Okay, in this way. So, for example, you can click on on these three dots, click on Share, and then select one of the two options that you see here. Once you select the read-only mode, your external user will only be able to read the data, not to modify the project. The edit mode instead, it's of course the opposite. The user will be able to have access to your project and edit it. You can also do so, by the way, by clicking on the three dots, clicking on the settings, and then click on Share Read Only or Share Editable. So let's now, this is for the second feature. Let's now move on to the other feature on our topic, on today's topic, which is shortcuts. So shortcuts are a fun tool because they make your work more enjoyable. For example, let me go back on my project, and let's try to create a new task and assign hours to this task in a quick way. So how can you do that? You can write task 1, and then you can use, for example, 25 hours, and then click on Add. Okay, so it didn't work, but it's let's, for example, say task 2, and it didn't work because I'm in a project, so I'm so sorry about that. So let me go into a task and add task title and then 25 hours. So when I click on add, as you can see, the 25 hours gets assigned automatically. I can do the same if I want to create, for example, if I want to create a tag, so I can write internal and then add, and voila, you have your internal tag. You can do the same thing with, for example, for assigning users to the task. And you can say, for example, that you want to assign this task to Mark. You can click on add, and Mark is assigned to this task. But you can also do everything together. So you can put a task name, for example, 25 hours. You can also assign 30, whatever you like. Then include a tag, for example, I put Odoo, and then I can tag a person, for example, Mark, to take care of this task. Once I click on add, you have everything in one click together. And this is beautiful, and it allows you to save a lot of time. And now let's come to the last feature, to the last fun tool, which is GIFs in the Kanban view. Well, let's imagine, you are at the end of a very long week. It's 5 p.m. and you are like very exhausted, but your manager comes with a task for you. So you don't really want to perform it, but you must. So the question is, how do you make it more fun? And you can just do so by clicking on these three dots, set a cover image, and then upload your GIF. Here I have my Tom and Jerry GIF. It's only Tom, but it will get uploaded. So I will just refresh. Okay, let's try once again. Okay. Well, let's try on another task. And this is the beauty of being live. Okay, it's clearly not loading, but in reality is there, because when I click set a cover image, it's indeed here, but it's not shown. Well, Let's go back to our presentation. It's now, as we come to the end of our agenda, I would like to thank you all for your participation. I really hope I have been able to shed a light on some of the less known features within the Odoo project application. Um, so I really would like to thank you all for your attention. As we have seen, these tools are set to transform the way you streamline processes, you plan and track your project and tasks, as well as communicate with your clients. And remember, it's not just about efficiency, is also about enjoying the process. So use your fun tool. Thank you, everyone. Have a fantastic Odoo. Honestly, a question for that's not related to like the way you can handle project or tasks, but it's more related to another area, which is like expenses. So I would advise this person to get in touch with some experts from the accounting expertise, for example.
Perfect, thank you very much. So the second one, consider I have a customer asking for custom service. I want first to ask prices to suppliers, how to link a quotation and request for a quotation together within the project before each is approved.
Uh, well, I can think of a few workarounds on top of my mind. We could do so like using some extra tools that we have at disposal at Odoo, like for example, Studio, creating a smart button that makes a link between this sale order and the project. I mean, not the sale order, but the quotation before it's approved. But for now, the standard behavior of Odoo is that you need to approve to confirm a sale order, and then you can actually finally manually generate a project.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. So the next one, how can you decide if a project update should be shared with the customer this time or should be only internal one?
Project updates, the project update menu is more, as I said during my talk, is more a feature for like internal use. It's really for the project manager to gain an understanding on how well the project is performing. So as you can see, there is no actual way of sharing the updates with someone external, but only with internal users of the platform. So this is project updates is not the right answer when you want to share an external report in this case.
Okay, perfect.
In my opinion.
Okay. The next one is how can you decide if a task plan and efficient hours should be added or not to a parent task time summary?
I don't think the question is really clear. Can you repeat it to me?
Of course.
Let's see.
How can you decide if a subtask planned and efficient hours should be added or not to a parent task time summary?
I think it's not clear to me the need behind this request, and the request is not very clear. So I invite this person to come to our booth at the service booth.
Perfect, amazing. And the last one, can you decide which information should be editable by portal user?
You can decide. It's a bit of a tricky topic because it's not just a matter of how the project application is built, it's also a matter of access rights. So yes, the user can edit, for example, tasks, can move the task around the stages and so on and so forth, but to decide which particular information the user needs to edit, I think this requires a deeper analysis, and above all, it involves access rights.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much, and thank you everyone for your questions.